it's a hypothetical, which we love. It's only 3 weeks. Get that out of the way.
Okay.
But we gave some numbers yesterday that prove that this Browns defense is historically great through 3 games. So as you measure all of the other great defensive performances through the first 3 games, the Browns defense in 2023 is right there with the Bears and the Buccaneers.
Although nobody mentions it because it doesn't matter if you don't follow up.
Correct.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's very short sample size. And then when you look at what the Dolphins are doing, I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday, Shannon Sharp on First Take, when he was hot because he's obviously got Denver Broncos pride. He said they dropped a 50 on our dome and then got a 20 flats for free. And I thought that was one of the funniest ways of saying you gave up 70 points I've ever heard.
Because them 20 flats cost you $3.
But they got them for free, meaning they quit.
Yeah. By the way, did you hear that there are supposedly people around the league saying it was not classy or whatever I can't remember the exact word.
Yeah, I did. No,
which is ridiculous. This is pro football. Stop them.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, look, I think when people saw the score, their immediate reaction was, "Oh, he's running it up." If you looked at the game and the way it unfolded, he wasn't.
They put backups in. One of those guys not supposed to play.
And it was clear that the Denver Broncos defense quits. And here's my deal: when the other team quits,
F them.
You don't have to quit.
No.
Because quitting becomes a problem. It becomes a habit.
And if you have the back guys on the bench playing and they have an opportunity to do something,
they're going to
what are they
score.
supposed to do?
And I don't blame them at all.
No, absolutely not.
I will point out that McDaniel had a chance to break the all-time record for the most points scored in a game. They were in field goal range. Go ahead.
73 is the record. It would have tied, just for the record.
Tied the record. I'm sorry.
Tied the record, yeah.
They would have had the record. The field goal kicker, they kept showing the kicker on the sideline. He's like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm loose. He kicked 10 extra points.
Right.
They didn't kick the field goal.
And that was across the 50 too, wasn't it?
He would have made it.
Yeah.
And,
I would have did it.
And I think
I would have done it too.
I would have did it.
But he didn't do it.
Yeah,
so for all of those people,
they're idiots.
No.
He could have driven the nail through the heart.
You should have. You should have.
Okay, so criticize him for that.
It's professional.
It's not. You get better.
Okay,
get better. At the end of the day, get better.
All that being said, guys.
Yeah.
Browns defense versus the Dolphins offense. Which one through 3 games is more impressive?
Browns defense.
You're wrong, and I'll tell you why when these guys go.
What is wrong with you today?
I'm just going to speak facts. I'm going to give you a fact.
What is more impressive?
That's 70.
Going from where the Browns were last year to where they're at this year.
Right.
That's
70 the Browns defense.
Okay.
That 70 piece is tough.
That's really tough.
Hey, go ahead, Boo.
You're kind of on the fence.
Yeah,
on this one.
All right.
To me, it's not that close. It's the Browns defense, without a doubt.
Thank you.
Because
interesting.
What the way I look at it is, the Dolphins. Listen, Dolphins offense has been amazing.
Thank you.
But it's only been otherworldly in 1 game.
Right. You're right.
The Browns defense has been otherworldly in all 3 games.
One of them was a loss.
Keep going, bro.
Otherworldly is you pitch a shutout.
But it had 0 to do with the defense. That loss was 0 on the defense.
Well, the defense did give up points, Bull. Let's not forget that.
Well, you're supposed to giving up some points. How many points did they give up?
What I'm saying is, 12. If you're otherworldly, you're 3-0.
Okay, but in the Patriots game, it wasn't like the Dolphins scored. The Dolphins scored 27 points.
Okay, let me put it to you like this right now. Yeah. Man. If they played tomorrow, and you had to bet your house on the game, which way are you going?
Browns.
Okay. It's just, look, because the other thing that comes into factor here is the Browns offense and the Dolphins defense.
Exactly.
Right, so it's not really a fit. I'm wondering, because I asked myself before I answered this question, if they were playing tomorrow, who am I picking?
But I don't think that's a fair way to base the argument because
the other units
there's other factors and special teams.
What was the score last year in that game? The Browns versus Dolphins.
Dolphins killed them.
Well, that's not fair. That's not fair because the Browns
I know that, but I just
want to
know what the score was.
Dolphins could have picked their number if I remember that game right.
Give me 1 second.
It was a blowout.
But the point is, to me, we were already, before this game against the Titans, we were already talking about, man, the Browns defense has been lights out the
elite.
first 2 games.
We were saying they've been elite.
The Dolphins offense through the first 2 games had been obviously very good,
The Dolphins'
but this
offense-
game just blows it out of proportion.
The Dolphins' offense did the same thing last year.
They did.
They were on. Tyreek Hill was
First 3
on
weeks, they were
pace
huge.
for breaking Calvin
I know,
Johnson's
but Tyvis,
record.
in a vacuum, you're
The
right.
only reason it
question,
went
though,
down
the
is 'cause
question
Tua
wasn't
got
which
hurt.
Unit has improved more year over year. That's easy.
That's why it's more
And
impressive.
I understand why you might weight this differently because where the Browns had come from.
Yeah.
But in a vacuum,
Yes.
this question is in a vacuum.
I'm not even factoring that in.
I don't think we should.
I'm not factoring that in.
Right.
I'm just saying we had a stat before that, like, based on one of these many analytics, that the Browns defense in these 3 games has been the 3 best defensive performances in the league this year.
Yes.
Based on the Dolphins aren't 1, 2, 3.
I don't know. I haven't looked.
They aren't. I think I read that maybe the Chiefs' offense was even more prolific.
To me, they set a record for the most yards in the history of the National Football League.
But that's one game.
I know it's one game. We only
Yeah.
have 3, though. And the other thing, too, is, and this is why I almost went Browns. This wasn't a slam dunk for me. I almost went Browns, and the reason I did is because I'm of the mindset that a great defense will trump a great offense, just like great pitching in baseball can shut down great hitting. I just happen to like defense more than I like offense. All of that being said, what they've done this year, and through 3 games, albeit, but in the 3rd game where their offense is now really up and running and clicking, they did it without their 2nd best offensive weapon. That's got to be factored into this discussion, too.
Well, the Browns were without one of their best defensive players, Greg Newsome.
Top 5 defensive players.
All right. To me, I don't factor that in at all because it's what have you done on the field, not what did you do
they
without
did that on the field without Jalen Waddle.
Well, then
that's got to be factored in.
Then I could argue the Bengals have a top 10 offense because Joe Burrow's hurt. If he wasn't hurt, then blah, blah, blah. There's always an excuse I can make. The bottom line is I think you're weighing the one game the Dolphins played at a ridiculous rate.
We only have 3.
I know that, but you shouldn't overweigh it. The other 2 games, they were good offensively, but not like all-time special.
The Steelers, the Browns defense has been, and I don't want anybody to get the idea that I'm trampling on the Browns defense. They're unbelievable. I think that they have a chance to be historical this year because we ran through the schedule yesterday on the show. I looked at it again later last night.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for who's the offense that's just going to come out and destroy this defense. I don't see it. So that it sets up for the Browns to be in the discussion with the 85 Bears and the early 2000s Tampa Bay Buccaneers and even the Baltimore Ravens.
We got to wait a little on that. It's been 3 games.
I didn't say they're going to be. Bull, what I said was I think they have a chance based on the teams that they play to be in that discussion.
Yeah.
So I'm not discounting what the Browns defense has done.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is what the Dolphins offense did Sunday. And yes, I am definitely weighing that very heavily.
Could it be that one game is what they call an outlier?
70 points though? 50 points I'll give you.
Who was it against? And who been sitting here telling you for years?
Listen, I've
been telling you for 2 years.
I know who it was against,
that.
but I'm not going to discount the Browns' defensive effort because it was against Ryan Tannehill. I'm not going to discount that. These guys all get paid. If they quit, that's on them.
I agree with that. I'm just saying the Browns' defense was better than the Dolphins' offense in Week 1, in my opinion. The Browns.
What did the Dolphins score in Weeks 1 and 2?
They scored 33 or something in Week 1.
Miami had 36 in Week 1
against the terrible Chargers defense,
and 24 against the Patriots.
That's nothing special. That's
Bill
nothing.
Belichick's defense. That's kind of impressive.
And it was on the road. But I give you this though. Here's the reason.
You haven't spoken. You haven't weighed in yet.
Yeah, I ain't jumped in on that.
Get with the program here.
Here's the reason why I'm gonna mind you, the Miami Dolphins they didn't have Jalen Waddle. And that was crazy.
That's a non-factor.
He's on my fantasy team too.
It's calling.
He smells it.
It's calling.
But you already know what it is, man. Come on.
Hold that. Go ahead. Hold that.
Hey, I just did a blog. Hey, man, check out my blog, man. I just did a comparison of the Cleveland Browns and the 85 Bears. Check that out on UCSS page. That's a shameless plug. It's a nice thumbnail, too. I got to go ahead and say it's definitely the Browns. And the reason why it's definitely the Browns is because, A, where they came from last year, B, look at the rules are all predicated towards offense. The rules say you can't touch nobody, you can't sack anybody, you can't land on them, you can't hit them high, you can't hit them low. Just like the Sauce Gardner commercial for BW3s. The Buffalo asked, what if you hit them high? Penalty. What if you hit them low? Penalty. Guess what? The Cleveland Browns have been getting people on the ground. And they've been doing it with no penalties. And the rules are set up for them to shine. The Browns right now, I felt bad for Derrick Henry. It's just not about what they're doing to passers. And we look what Joe Burrow was stifled. We got that. But look what you did to one of the best backs that's been playing for the last 10 years, is Derrick Henry. They was hitting him before he could even get going. And this is the crazy part about it. You look at that schedule. Sometimes the schedule does that. I said they had 6 games. Little did I know they had 6 games to prove is they one of the best defenses of all time. They got an opportunity. You
can't prove that in 6 games.
You can't prove it in 6 games.
Yeah.
But
You can't prove that in a regular season either.
And here's
deal.
what you can do. It sets everybody up for a nice little 7-day bye week. Because if they come out here and Lamar Jackson is running around, that means they can shut pocket passers down, great running backs, and now a guy that can scramble and steal his plays. It looks like they don't have any kryptonite. We're going to see on this, but I got to say the Browns so far.
I would say in the end, if you're ranking the 6 performances, the 3 offensive performances by the Dolphins and the 3 defensive performances by the Browns, I would probably put the Dolphins offense in this past week number 1.
Yep.
However,
it's an all-time record.
I'd put the Browns defense 2, 3, and 4. So if you, yeah, I mean,
they scored 36 in week 1.
To me,
How many did they give up to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Teams
12?
scored.
The Browns defense gave up 12, correct?
They gave up 12 points.
That's
not a lot. Crazy.
I mean,
No, but which one is more impressive?
That would lead the league.
Scoring 36 or allowing 12?
12. In today's offense,
Yes,
12.
much more.
With Steelers offense?
Don't do that.
You know what it is.
Don't do that.
You know what it
What
is.
they score yesterday or Sunday?
Jay, you just said to him you can't complain about the Broncos defense.
Look, you guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to accept your thank yous and apologies right now. Here's why.
Because you couldn't be more wrong.
No.
Let's just admit that.
When I saw this question this morning, I always do this. Every day I do this for the sake of the show. Little trick I learned many years ago.
Yeah.
Where's G. Bush going with this? Well, that took me an eighth of a second.
Yeah.
4 seconds.
Where's Tyvis going with this? That took me a half second.
Oh, really?
Yes, 1,000%.
Tyvis is
Within
kinda
a half
tricky,
second.
man.
Now,
Don't do that.
this is a credit to Bull. I said, I got to think about Bull. Because Bull's going to come at this thing. He's going to look at it objectively.
Yeah.
In the end,
Why?
I came down with this. Bull's going Browns defense too.
and-
So if I go Browns defense, what the hell kind of discussion was that?
That's true. By the way,
That's true, but
that's
So
fair.
you're welcome, and I accept your apology.
By the
Tyvis.
way, the first thing, when Mike first asked the question, my first reaction was, I'm probably going to lean toward the Dolphins. And then I sat and thought about it.
And as I was,
And yes.
and Bull, honestly, when I was thinking, okay, I know where he is, I know where he
why
is.
did you know where I was?
Because I know where you are on these things. You're pretty consistent.
Not true at all.
It is true.
You don't like consistency, bro?
I do. I love consistency.
You're consistent. And look, and I love you for that.
I'm a fence right.
You're anything
No,
but
but
a
I
fence
don't
rider.
think. I don't think it's all
But when I was thinking about how Bull was going to, I saw
That was bad.
Bull's going to come out shooting saying, guys, it was 70 points. So I was like, he could go that way.
Yeah.
But he could also say this Browns defense has had the 1, 2, and 3 best performances in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
Those were the two things that I thought you would struggle with in your mind. But in the end, I did say Bull's going to side with the Browns
It
defense.
certainly was worthy of a conversation.
It
I mean,
was.
there's no doubt. The
It
Dolphins'
was.
offense has been remarkable.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
I don't know
But
why y'all didn't ask the most popular person on the show what he thought. McNuggets.
Mike
Nuggets, what do you
Nuggets.
think?
I think Bull actually stole my point. I think the single most impressive performance of any unit in any game this season
Oh, that's no.
was the Dolphins.
Yeah,
putting
that
70
one's
up.
easy.
But I would go 2, 3, 4 with the Browns.
Yeah.
And based on that aggregate, I would slightly give the edge to the Browns.
See, I just when I
He's a man of the people.
I wanted to rewatch the Steelers game. I haven't yet. The one thing that I was concerned about, and this is again a knock on the Browns defense, to be a truly great defense, Tyvis, you have to do what?
Tackle.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things you have to do.
You gotta tackle,
but all the
contain.
boxes, one of them is you have to force turnovers.
That's the one.
And
that's
that
the only
is
check
the
mark they
big
haven't.
check mark against
Did
this
they
defense.
get any against the Titans?
See,
I don't.
see,
how many turnovers do we have? I think
but-
one all year,
Two.
right?
Two.
But
That's not enough.
Who did we get 2 turnovers?
We had
on?
picks.
Grant Delpit got a pick against the Steelers.
Yes, he did.
And did the Bengals turn it over once? Did somebody fumble?
I don't think the Bengals turned it over. I
No,
think
it
the
was
Browns
2
lost the turnover battle in that one 3-0.
It was 2 against the Steelers. They had something else. Ward forced a
by the way,
fumble.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
But
by
that's
the
not
way-
enough. And by the way, those things are, you always say this, those can be lucky. And they're hard to carry
There is
over
definitely
week to
some
week.
luck on
Defense
that,
did
yeah.
enough
However,
to win that game.
there are
I'll tell you that.
opportunistic defenses that force their own luck, rip the ball out,
Yeah, that's
jump
what happened to
routes.
Elijah Moore.
And we
There
haven't
is-
done that
He
yet,
took
and
that
I
ball
need to
for
see
real.
that part
There
of
is
it.
definitely some level of luck in turnovers, without a doubt. But you're right. The all-time great defenses, which the Browns hope to be,
Take it away.
all had a ton of turnovers. All of them.
Here's the thing. Sometimes on defense you can be so good, there's no opportunity.
Yeah,
for
but
turnovers.
G. Bush, they've dropped interceptions this year.
Well, no. Here now
And they were
ran
standing
over
around on that
fumbles.
fumble.
Standing
Because
around
guys
on the
didn't
fumble,
know-
ball on that loose ball.
They ran all over the fumble. Like I was like, y'all get that.
And who the heck dropped the fumble? It was right in a pick. It was right in his hands. I thought it was going to be a pick six.
Who did
Can't
drop?
remember.
Early in the game
I
on
can't remember.
Sunday.
Somebody dropped a pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could have been a pick six, in
I
fact.
don't remember who it was. By the
Ask you
way,
guys a question real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So instead of let's take this back a step outside of the 3 games. I'm going to give you 2 stats, and I want you to tell me which stat, one's for the Dolphins, one for the Browns, is a more impressive individual stat.
Okay.
We mentioned this on the show yesterday. Steve, take tag board full. The Browns have allowed negative 36 rush yards before contact this season. The league average is 94.2.
That's ridiculous.
So is negative
Insane.
36 rushing yards before contact a more impressive individual stat? Steve, you can take the VO full here. Look at the 4th line. The Dolphins have 7 more touchdowns than any other team in the league through 3 games.
Extremely Christmas.
They have 7 more touchdowns than 3 teams. So what's more impressive?
Yeah,
17 touchdowns in 3 games?
They're both incredible.
Or
well,
I just think it's so skewed by that one game, and yeah, it's all and that's not. It's just never going to happen again. It's just, if they have like 2-3 more games where they score 50 plus, maybe I'll think differently. I just feel like that the Browns have just been consistently great on defense in all 3 games.
Can we go back to that stat on the Browns? Because I meant to ask this yesterday. There's something that's odd to me about that.
Before contact.
The league average is allowing 94 yards per game.
no. That's through 3 in totality. 30.
Oh, I
So that's
see
like
what you're saying.
31 and a half yards per game. before
Okay.
contact.
What?
So that's not per game. That's
confused.
the total.
Cumulative, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the average is then the Browns are averaging minus 12 rushing yards per game before contact.
Correct.
I think
And the
that to
league
me, I
average
get
is
my
minus
mind around.
31 per game. Or
Exactly.
Plus
No,
31.
plus 31.
So it's that's still a 43 yard per game difference,
Which is-
from the average.
It's amazing.
Absurd.
I mean, it
Which
really
is
is
crazy.
amazing. And what's even more incredible, to your point, Tyvis, the Achilles of this defense last year was in the middle, on the run. Go back and think about what Atlanta did to us.
Please don't
when they
make,
told us,
don't make me.
we're going to run the ball this play, guys.
Don't make
and it was
me.
12 yards.
The Brown-
and 12 yards.
Yeah.
But think about where they were and where they are now and the transformation in that short period of time. That's how you fix
No
the
way.
defense.
Well, that's why to me it was impressive to me.
Yeah.
Because from where they were to where they are
Right.
now, it's literally.
We
night
all
and day.
thought they'd be a lot better defensively. And again, we have to say it's 3 games.
Yeah.
However, nobody could have imagined they were going to play this well. Nobody. No way you could have thought it would be this
was
good.
unforeseeable. I'm curious. Baltimore and San Francisco are 2 pretty good offenses.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how they hold up against these 2 offenses. Because so far, I mean, even Cincinnati looked better last night. Cincinnati in week 1 was not the Cincinnati offense we're going to get next time around. We know that. Pittsburgh offense isn't going to set buildings on fire. We know that. Tennessee's offense, likely not to set buildings on fire. So let's get a couple of games against top-notch offenses in the barn, and after week 5, we'll come back and we'll revisit the Dolphins offense or the Browns defense.